list and plan of all this stuff to talk about, and we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, and it was boring as shit and long as shit. That's really not what I want to do tonight. What I want to do tonight is have more of a back and forth to try to figure out what people know and don't know, and more of a disseminate information about the optimal way to get your class order hall going and maximize your weapon, and what kind of gear we expect, and kind of to help people that may not be in the process of getting all of the clocks ticking correctly. And this is specifically for the folks that had life that prevented them from leveling really fast. I've been playing catch up a little bit too. And I think that's really going to be most helpful. I've been really excited about how, how Saturday went was incredible. I don't know how many people showed up under 8:10, but everybody that showed up left over 8:10 and was able to queue on their own. We'll do the same thing tonight. I think that we'll be pretty much done doing that after this, because I think pretty much everybody's 110 by now. So I'm going to make a few little comments, and then I'm kind of going to go around to the different officers and give them a chance to throw in their 2 cents, and then open up the floor for people to talk about stuff. I know the Thorax and Vil have raid-specific stuff that they're going to talk about. And I will just ask you that we have like 30-some people in Vent, and I'm the worst offender of talking way too much. We have a lot of people that are going to want to ask questions and talk about stuff. If when you comment, you could try to keep it really quick and to the point, so that we can get through lots of different material, because if all you guys talk as much as I do, we'll never get to rating. So with that, I will say that I think that the WhatsApp information channel, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be a really good way to disseminate information like this. If there's something that you don't get to, or something we talk about that you need to look up, please use that channel to share information with people. Don't fill it up with chat, but use that as like like stickies. If there's a really important stuff, use that channel as the sticky channel to get the really important information out to the entire group. And with that, let's start with the officers. Thorax, do you want to? Well, let's leave you for last. Let's go through the other officers and kind of give them a chance to throw stuff in, because I know that you're going to have several comments to make. So let me start with Vil. Do you have particular comments about class order halls, or any information about leveling and keeping kind of on target and up to date on where we want to be 2 weeks from tonight?
I mean, looking towards raids, I think everyone can get to 850. Especially after you get your 3rd relic slot, your weapons will be around 870 to 875, around there. So it's going to be pretty easy, actually. And I'm sure everyone by then will have a legendary, just due to how they do it with the bad luck protection. And with the order halls, just make sure you are doing your research, your artifact research, and your bonuses that'll eventually lead to 2 legendaries, as well as your class order hall campaign. That's the biggest upgrade you can get right now, is the class order hall campaign. So just make sure you're doing that whenever you can, just sending out those missions. And there's also an app now, so you can do it if you have an iPhone or an Android from work or from somewhere else.
Yeah, I just got my order hall done just like 20 minutes ago, and it's an enormous upgrade.
I have a question.
Yep.
What do you mean by you got your order hall completed? What do you mean by...
Your class quest line. Mine is Shaman. I don't know who spoke, but whatever your class is, in your quest log, there will be something that says Paladin quest line or whatever. When you finish all of that, and the last step is the 5 missions. There are 2 sets of 5 missions. When you finish the second set of 5 missions, it's like a 20-minute quest line. And then you get to add a 3rd relic to your weapon, which is like a 36-point upgrade to your weapon, which is enormous. My weapon went from 823 to 859, like 20 minutes ago.
Valena has connected.
So make sure you focus on that. Make sure you have whatever your crafting profession is. Hopefully you have whatever armor you use. Make sure your crafting profession is done so that you can use your Blood of Sargeras. for crafting whatever weapons gear slots you have missing 2 weeks from tonight or 12 days from tonight, so that you can fill in your gear and make sure you're at 850. But between a 795 legendary and a weapon that's going to be somewhere in the range of 860 to 875, hitting 850 overall, like Phil says, is really should not be difficult. And no matter when you start, even, I think Thrak is, not quite the 110. Even if you hit it right now, you still can get that stuff done. The other focus is to make sure that you have on your legendary weapon that you have 2 of your golden slots tracks done. 2 of your 3 should be done 2 weeks from tonight. If you're just leveling now, that'll be a bit of a push, but everybody else shouldn't have a problem getting there. So you need your weapon with 2 of its end slots. You need 3 artifacts, or sorry, 3 relics, and you need your profession done, so you can craft your empty slots. Anything else, Bill?
Nope, that was all.
I will say also that keep an eye on the world quests. If you don't do the world quests on a regular basis, even doing the world quests of the gear that's, like if you have an 825 chest and there's an 820 chest out there, things proc. So still go do all that stuff. It doesn't take very long. So doing all of the world quest gear stuff before it expires is really important, because that's, really a free shot at a nice proc. And I know people have procced, like some people have procced 850 pieces from those.
Yep.
All right, Plez, do you have any comment?
If you haven't completed your, the research in the order halt, it's probably good. The artifact research, it's probably a good idea to hold on to anything that's going to grant you artifact power for once you've completed the artifact research. It'll be a little more beneficial.
It doesn't scale.
It doesn't scale at all. Okay, never mind. That's dumb.
You want to make comments about the website? That's kind of your bailiwick.
I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, the sites. I'm gonna keep making some changes to it, changing around the forums a little bit. But if anybody has any input on how it looks, just leave it on the forums or tell me in game. I don't care. I'm gonna make some changes to the banner once we start killing some shit, taking some screenshot, posting it up on the site. Got a streaming page now if you want to stream. Once the big wig progression raid team starts pushing, anybody that is on that team that is going to be streaming will be put on this page here and prioritized, so that the people that are not able to push through that initial progression raid will be able to watch and hopefully learn some about the strats and whatnot. There's a Risen Guild Twitch channel that I created, so if anybody wants to stream as part of the guild, just let me know and I can add you to the page. Not gonna give out too many of the streaming keys. I'm gonna keep that to the main raid team so that we can stream to that individual page as we're pushing through progression. But I'll just add you to the page if you want to. I would like to see, and I'm going to start doing it a little bit more when I have time, but a little bit more activity on the forums, because they're kind of not really active. There's a whole subsection of tanks, melee DPS, range DPS, and healers. So maybe we can find some way to utilize the forums in addition to using the WhatsApp chat.
And if I can break in and say that anybody that doesn't know and is interested in we have WhatsApp channels for tanks and WhatsApp channels for healers. Anybody who wants to be in the healer or tank WhatsApp, send Dork a text at my number I just put in guild chat. Send me a text saying put me in the tank or put me in the healer, and I'll do that. Anybody who's not a member of the website, in-game whisper Plez right now, Clown Shoes right now, and he will get you on the website. And anybody who's not a member of WhatsApp at all, please send a text to Dork's phone number in guild chat, and we'll get you on the WhatsApp stuff.
Sorry, I'm late. Still at work.
But all right.
That's pretty much all I had.
Okay, Thrak, you have any comments?
I just thought of something as you said that. On the site, I'm going to add a thing to donate individual days to the website. So I upgraded the website to an advanced plan. Allows us a little bit more functionality and allows me to embed this Twitch streams into the site and all that stuff. If I don't pay for the upgraded advanced version of the site, we don't have Twitch streaming linked on here. We won't have the cool theme. It goes away. I paid for 3 months of it, but I'm going to put a button on here that allows you to donate individual days or a week or a month if you want to, so that the site can stay looking like it is, and it allows you to donate if you want to the top tier. I'm going to put that on there. If you want to donate and you want to keep it looking great, by all means feel free to do that. It would be a big help because it's what, $25 for 3 months. It's not terribly bad, but I'd like to not have to pay for that entirely by myself. And so if we can all collectively get together and donate a week or a day or 3 days or whatever, it'd be really great.
I have a question in regards to the streaming thing.
Okay, shoot.
What is the account associated with that? Because I stream, but I stream my own personal account. If there's a guild account that would benefit the guild, I'd rather stream there.
There's a guild account. It's the Risen Guild, and I can authorize other accounts to stream to the Risen Guild, and it'll generate your own Twitch streaming key. The problem with that is only one person can stream to that site at a time. So if I'm streaming, and then Noob decides to stream, and then Nex decides to stream, and then somebody else decides to stream, whoever streams last is going to kick everybody else off. So for now, I'm just going to add, if you want to stream to your personal stream, I'll add it to our guild to the page. It's kind of embedded in the page, but once we start raiding, then if Nex is in there, then I'll have Nex streaming to the guild page, and then we'll figure it out once we start raiding.
Okay.
Just send me a message, and I'll add you to the page.
Who?
It's Clown Shoot.
And let me make another comment. Many of you know that we also have a Discord channel now. If you haven't been part of it, well, first of all, Discord's an incredible resource. If you're not into Discord with your particular class, you should do that because it's pretty much the best information for many different classes. So being part of our Discord channel will introduce you to your particular class, and you should take advantage of that because it is an extremely good resource. If you don't know the address, I put it on the guild tab, the info tab of the guild tab. Under guild information, the Discord channel is there, so you can look it up and join our Discord. It's a non-keyed kind of chat unless you change it. So it's good for casual hanging out. It's probably not good for raiding because all the background noise comes through. All right, Thrak.
Yeah. I just want to say I'm working my butt off to get to 110. I've had a hell of a week, and I just wanted to add, just so everyone knows, I fully aim to be prepared and working my butt off to get to the right eye levels. But even as someone who's been part of the guild and is an officer, if I'm not at the proper raid level, I fully don't expect to be allowed to raid. So. That's going to work across the board regardless of who it is, and I'm going to be doing my best to get to where everyone else is. I'm a little upset that I haven't been able to get into any heroics or mythics yet, but that'll come. As for if anybody has any issues that they would like to talk about within the guild and they would like to talk to somebody who's in an officer spot, please feel free to call or text or WhatsApp me. Obviously, you can do so with any of the officers, but I'm always willing and able to talk. I can't always be in vent. Work sucks, but please feel free to reach out to me if you have questions, issues, concerns about how things are going or how things are going to proceed, and that way we can take care of it. And we don't want things to, we don't want grudges or anything to fester. We want to be open and upfront and honest about everything going on, so everyone can have a good time and have fun.
And I had a comment along those lines. I mean, I didn't count, but we've got
That's all I got,
30 plus
Darth.
people in. Okay, we got like 30 plus people in here. I mean, there's no doubt this guild is considerably bigger than our guild has been in the past, and there are a lot of personalities here, and there are people that aren't going to get along. And that's that have every week something comes up with somebody, and usually it's 2 or 3 different things. And I'll tell you right now that just don't expect to like love everybody in the guild. I mean, it's not reasonable to expect that 35 people or however many people we have, 40 people, are all going to be best friends. I mean, that's just not going to happen. So there are people, there are people that you may not like a lot. Just be mature and avoid them and hang out with the people you like. I mean, just because there are people that aren't your best friends, and there are people in this guild that I prefer to hang out with, and there are people in this guild that aren't my favorite. And that doesn't mean that they aren't great raiders. Doesn't mean that we can't get some great shit done together. I'm just urging everybody, when you come up with conflict, just be mature about it and avoid it. And if it's a real issue, come to an officer. And Thrak's a great guy to do that. He's much more diplomatic than I am at stuff. Appreciate that, Silas.
Well, I love all you guys, so.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Aw.
love.
Group hug.
Next is the worst.
That's a strong word.
All right, Thorax, do you want to talk, or do you want to open the floor first? I'll leave that up to you.
I'd like to make a couple comments, and I'll make them quick to get this going. I think that both Dork and Thrak made some really keen observations in the last little while, and there's been some frustrations and some tense moments and emotions that have risen. And I did want to make a comment in regards to everyone and just let them know that this is what happens when game time separates the progress of tunes. It does settle out, and everyone should maintain patience and respect for that, and understanding that it does settle out when things become more affiliated with raiding and less on personal progression, leveling, high level boosting, so on and so forth. So in the meantime, patience. Patience is the key for the next 2 weeks. What I mean by that is it's going to be hard for really skilled players, which most of us are. The one exception, of course, is Caress. But no jokes aside, it is really difficult for people who are skilled to fall behind. Thrak just commented in a very humble manner that he's trying his best, and it's frustrating. He doesn't think that he's going to be able to reach the eye level in time for the raid. I hope that's not the case. However, that is a very good opening for what I want to say, Thrak. Thank you. There's a lot of observations that are occurring from various areas in the guild. Officers, last Saturday was one, tonight will be another, Wednesday, tomorrow will be another, and hopefully this upcoming Saturday. What I mean by that is,
has joined the channel.
I'd like to see raid mentality in these groups, especially these mythics we're going to do today, as well as tomorrow. There's going to be some individuals who have an opportunity to show their abilities of not standing in shit, understanding mechanics, overcoming more challenging encounters with lower eye levels or teammates with lower eye levels, and that information and those observations are going to be collected and discussed to assess the team that is going to be able to initially provide the best chance of success and progression. I do want to make one really, really clear distinction when I say team. That is not a static team. That is a team that is created for the encounter. So we're all expected to be there on raid day, on opening raid day. And if you're not there for the first boss, when that first boss goes down, there's a high probability we go heavy melee and shift that team around, because we are going to put the time. Vil and Dork and I have already started, even though it's a little early, we already started discussing that. And there's a high probability that some encounters are going to be especially for first kills and get them on farmable content, require more melee, more range, an additional tank, so on and so forth. So it's not going to be a static group in any way, shape, or form. What we need to do is get ready eye level wise and get ready mechanic wise. There's been some extremely
Xylias
positive
has left the channel.
demonstrations of abilities so far.
Xylias has
I'm
joined
not
the
basing that
channel.
on eye level, I'm basing that on understanding the way our new skills are working at this tier and some of the new I guess, mechanics that we're facing and how we're responding to them. So when I see someone who's 795 going into heroic with me, and they're obviously not going to be top DPS when they're compared to 820s, but they're pulling some great numbers with 795. That is being observed. So do not think that your game time and being unable to level to 110, or even you're behind on heroics or mythics, is going to change anything in 2 weeks, beyond the fact that you may not be as geared as somebody else. But again, 2 weeks is a long time, and we do need to have patience and continue to run on these days. The other days, if you're unable to do a heroic, or to get a heroic group or a mythic group, there is the looking for group, and I'm not talking about the queue, I'm talking about the area where you can create a group. Create a group or join a group that's looking for a specific encounter, a specific dungeon, and go that route. It is not too difficult. If it is, you can depend on the fact that 2 or at least 2 out of the 3 days that we're set for raiding for this week and next week, you will be in a group, and it will be a group situated for your where your current progression is, in the hopes that that will help boost, which is exactly what we did on Saturday, and we're going to continue to do that as we continue to boost. So again, those other 4 days, or the time we're not raiding, do your best. World quests are a big deal. They really boost you up. Put that research in for best in slots, and be advised and be aware that the opportunities, it's not about friendships, it's not about how well you did last expansion, it's not about who or what, it's about how you're able to understand current mechanics and your class and how well you're doing. That's going to allow you to have an opportunity initially. And Thraken said he's an officer, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be in the raid. I include myself as a raid leader in that. There may be a situation where I have to step out because it's more beneficial for another healer to be in there, and I can assist through the stream site as well. And the stream is a big tool that I think everybody on those raid nights should be utilizing. Clown and Nex and various other people are putting a lot of time into that, so that when we do move into a larger group format for these bosses that are killed with the optimal group for that week, it's not a small learning, it's not a big learning curve. We've already seen it, we've already watched it, we know what we're going to do, we just have to do it, so it shouldn't be more than a couple steps that will require us to increase the size of the group, the raid group, and farm it on, get more gear out of there. And obviously to be ready for the mechanics come mythics, when the entire team is going to be, have to be fully involved, committed, and understanding it very well. So again, put emphasis on personal progression. Try not to get frustrated. Be patient with each other in these times, because it's an expansion launch, and people have various levels of game time. That dust will settle. The friendships and the mutual respect will supersede any frustrations and potential emotional outbursts. And hopefully we can get this first raid down and into heroics first week. I don't want to jinx us, but there's some huge potential that we're identifying, and I think it's really exciting. That's all I have to talk.
All right, thank you. One other comment, as far as Guild Bank goes, those of you that have been with our guild for a while know that the Guild Bank will be brimming with all kinds of free stuff, everything you want at some point. And those of you who heard me last time realize that that's not going to happen right away, because right now things are like stupid expensive. We've got over 2 million gold poised to buy stuff, and we will. We really don't need a lot of it right now. If you really need something, let me know, and I can get it for you. Any officer can get it for you. And I'll pay back whoever spends whatever for reasonable requests. That's no problem. But sometime probably about a week from now, prices will really start to come down on a lot of these materials, and I will go start in the auction house and fill up our guild bank with whatever you need for your stuff. Stuff like professional crafting and whatnot, honestly, and two days before raid is really when we need to have the thing full. So I'm probably going to start about a week from tonight and fill the thing up, and there'll be lots of stuff in there. Until then, if somebody can disenchant, because I'm not to that point yet, if somebody can disenchant all the stuff in the officer tab, I'd appreciate it. And in the GM tab, I'll move that down so that we can start accumulating those mats. Thanks, Threk. All right, so let's open it up in general. Questions about really about anything from the general population, and I'll remind you of what I said before, which is try to keep your comments straight and to the point, and we'll try to make answers straight and to the point so that we can not spend forever doing this.
What brings you here? Good luck, friend.
Anybody have questions on gearing up? Any questions on world quests? Any questions on world bosses? Anything?
Yeah, we thought world bosses were open today, but they're not. So I guess it's going to be next week. We'll do world bosses tonight. We'll do heroics.
I am wondering about the world bosses. They're like actual raid bosses just wandering around in the world. You need like 20 people for them, or 5 or 10?
It's like Kaz
Like Kazakh.
from the previous expansion.
But they have multiple of all of them everywhere.
It will be a world quest. It will be purple with a gold border and exclamation mark that shows up just like your current world quests. Some of them can be 5-man, most of them require more. Some are fairly difficult, some are fairly easy. And there will be 3 per week.
Alright.
They will be dropping 750 gear, which is the cap right now.
You mean 850?
Excuse me,
I was at
850. Thank you.
750.
And that will be scaled to 860 once raid opens on the 20th. So, but they will launch before raid. We don't know when, but sometime between now and raid, they will surprise us and pop. So we'll watch for them and hopefully be able to hit them on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday.
In regards to crafting, I know it's kind of hard to keep track of what everybody can and can't craft. If you want, I can make a crafting channel or crafting subthread on the forums, and you can take a screenshot of what you can craft and what you cannot craft, and post a screenshot of it there. That way, there's a resource for people to visit. They can go straight to the page, say, "Hey, look, I need, chain pieces. Who can make chain?" Or who can make, mail, who can make cloth, shit like that. That way it's a little bit easier instead of having to ask around.
If everybody would open up their guild tab right now and go to the roster tab where you see everybody's name, and then go to the top and change player status to professions, you can see, like, if you need somebody to make a gem for you, there's a jewel crafting tab. What you do is you click the jewel crafting tab, and it'll show you all the jewel crafters and what their skill level is. So who is an 800. We have no 800s right now. Not that you necessarily need that, but you can see all the people that are jewel crafters in the guild. And if you click the view all next to that, you can see the jewel crafting patterns that we have collectively. And if you need, let's go down to gems like a Deadly Eye of Prophecy. You click that, and then at the bottom of that it says View Crafters, and if you click that, it'll tell you what crafters in the guild can do that, and it highlights the ones that are online. So if you need something in particular, you can go find it and then look to see if there's a crafter online. In this case it's Vil, so then you whisper Vil and say, "Hey, can you make me a Deadly Eye of Prophecy?" That's probably the most efficient way to get what you need. And again, the mats will be in the guild bank in a week or so. And as far as crafters go, the mats that are limited, where there's a cooldown or something, and you really it hurts you to do that. Obviously, people are going to be a little bit hesitant to burn all of their daily cooldown mats on stuff, and the people are allowed to do what they want with their crafting possessions. But in general, we expect them to be used for helping the raid team get geared up and and ready. And if there are any mats that aren't in the guild bank that you need as a crafter, if it's a raid thing, you go buy them, and then you send me an in-game message saying, you know, you owe me 3K or whatnot because I did this for this person. I mean, don't let money stand in the way of doing what people need to be ready to raid.
So money can buy happiness?
Yeah,
Well,
they can buy happiness.
if happiness is defined by everybody showing up to raid with optimized gear, yes. Any other questions in general, folks?
Alright, sounds good.
Alright, let's break into groups and go kill shit.
Is anyone not in the raid party right now, guys? Yeah, no problem. Is anyone not in the raid parties?
I'm gonna end the recording then. I'll have it uploaded later tonight.
Alright, thank you.
I would say I have time for one mythic, but I'd much rather you put somebody in who will be there for all of it.
Well, let's see. We're down one spot, but I'm thinking I'd like to get